Decision Making. This is a new and short course titled Decision Making, taken from the book Training Courses by Muteb Alqarni. In this course, we will discuss proper ways of decision making, not just any decisions, but making the right decisions that we won't regret by following effective strategies and techniques such as the Gopher technique, Decide, Delphi, and many others. The benefit of this course follows from the fact that life is decisions. Your current sitting position is a decision, and it can have an impact on you, possibly causing obesity, a stroke, or high blood pressure. Your decision to stay at home is also impactful, as it may bring you joy or misery. Similarly, crossing the street is a decision, with consequences that could result in a hit-and-run accident due to a wrong crossing. So, life is just decisions. How do we make them correctly? Let's find out. First of all, what does decision-making mean? Decision-making is the process of choosing one thing over another, or among several options. Therefore, decision-making is a matter of choice. You choose and weigh between two things and select the better one. In situations where there is only one option, and it is a necessary evil, you are expected to make that choice even if you don't want to, as there are no alternatives. However, many times you will find two options, one more bitter than the other, or two options, both good, and you struggle to decide. Our course is specifically designed to address these ambiguous situations where you experience confusion and hesitation. How do you choose between two unpleasant or two good things in the right way? That is the goal of the course. How to overcome confusion and hesitation by making a decision that you won't regret in the future. If decision-making is the process of choice, the important question is, how does a person choose, decide, and weigh things? The initial answer is based on several criteria. Let's say you want to buy a mobile phone, either an iPhone or a Samsung. You won't choose one without considering some criteria, such as the cost, where your budget will determine your choice. The need criterion, you will choose what fulfills your needs. The influence of friends criterion, if your friend likes the iPhone, you might choose it influenced by them. The emotion criterion, your emotions, either enthusiasm for something or fear of something, will play a role in your decision. The knowledge criterion, your current knowledge about each phone will influence you. The taste criterion, your personal preferences will be involved. These are 6 criteria that will affect your decision in choosing a mobile phone. When you realize that any decision-making is based on several criteria, you will directly understand that changing these criteria means changing the decision. However, some criteria can be intervened and changed by advisors, resulting in a change in your decision, while other criteria cannot be changed. For example, the taste criterion cannot be changed. No one can change your taste. Taste is an aesthetic criterion, and no one can alter your perception of beauty. Similarly, the cost criterion cannot be changed. An advisor cannot change the cost to make the phone cheaper, trying to convince you to buy it. What I want you to understand here is that there are criteria that can be changed, leading to a change in your decision, and there are criteria that cannot be changed, and consequently, decisions associated with them cannot be influenced. Add to the criteria of taste and cost the criterion of need. Advisors will not change your needs, as you are the one who knows them best. Advisors can only change 3 out of the 6 criteria mentioned earlier: knowledge, emotion, and influence of friends. Therefore, Herbert Simon states that any successful decision is based on 1. Abundant information, 2. Accurate analysis, and 3. Sufficient time. To improve your decision, you will need 1. Sufficient information. By enhancing the knowledge criterion through gaining information about the two phones, you will choose the better one. 2. Analysis of information. By removing the influence of friends and analyzing the information yourself, you will choose the best. And 3. Sufficient time. By improving emotion and taking your time without enthusiasm or fear, you will enhance your choice. In light of this theoretical framework, which states that any successful decision relies on abundant information, time, and the ability to analyze, we will divide this course into 4 sections. The first section addresses personal decisions, such as buying a house, selling land, divorce, etc. The second section deals with life decisions related to lifestyle. These are major life decisions unrelated to purchasing land, an estate and a house, a property, etc. The third section covers routine decisions, like mundane choices made every day, such as buying lunch and clothes. The last section addresses major organizational decisions, such as group decisions in companies, institutions, families, friends, etc. Let's start with the first section. The first section focuses on personal decisions such as buying a house or a car, etc. Let's assume you want to buy a car. We said that the decision-making process is a matter of choosing between options, and having only one option means the absence of the decision-making process. Ask yourself, how many options do you have? 2, 3, or 5? Are your choices limited to Camry, Corolla, Lexus, and Kia? The best initial step is to increase the options because maximizing is an important stage in the science of decision-making, meaning introducing new and diverse options. Then, after maximizing, proceed with the opposite process, which is minimizing, meaning start eliminating all options and keeping 2 or 3. The question, do you maximize your options to include all possible cars you haven't thought about and then minimize them? Narrowing down your choices to 2 or 3 is a crucial proactive step for making an effective decision. Having many options means more confusion and hesitation, while having fewer options means less confusion and hesitation. After narrowing down your choices to 2 or 3, proceed to the next step, which is gathering information. Collect information about each option, and it's sufficient to gather 75% of accurate and necessary information for each option. 75% of information is enough, as insisting on collecting 100% of the information leads to a condition known as information overload or infoxication, causing hesitation in decision-making. Ask yourself, do you insist on collecting 100% of the information before making any decision? The next question here is, what do we mean by gathering information about each option? The purpose is to collect the positives and negatives of each option. Allocate a sheet for each option, divide the sheet into 2 halves, write advantages in one half and disadvantages in the other. Then, compare the advantages and disadvantages and choose the option with the most advantages and the least disadvantages. This simple analysis method is called decisional balance sheets, attributed to Plato and used by Benjamin Franklin. After gathering information, the next step is weighing the information. It's a simple and effective method of weighing. Ask yourself, do you weigh between advantages and disadvantages? One of the methods for weighing and analyzing positives and negatives is the SWOT analysis. The term SWOT is an acronym for 4 words. 1. Strengths. 2. Weaknesses. 3. Opportunities. And 4. Threats. The SWOT method suggests listing the strengths and weaknesses for each option, the positives and negatives, and alongside them, list the opportunities and threats. Write down the opportunities and threats for each option. For example, the car retains its value at the time of sale. This is an opportunity. Car parts are expensive, a threat. The car owner is forced to sell, an opportunity. And the engine has a moderate malfunction, a threat. After identifying strengths, positives, and weaknesses, negatives, and the opportunities to be gained and the threats to be aware of, try the analysis. Weigh and choose the option with the most strength, the least weakness, the most opportunity, and the least threat. The question: have you tried this simple method of comparing 2 options to make a specific decision about them? After gathering this information, try the next step, which is to classify the current information into criteria using the method of multiple criteria decision-making, MCDA. The question: can you classify the previous information based on criteria such as quality, appearance, price, etc.? For example, you place the positive that the car is beautiful in the appearance criterion, and the negative that the car is expensive in the price criterion. After classification, the next step is to arrange the criteria according to importance. Which is more important to you? Price or quality? Appearance or brand? Rank your criteria, remembering that the ranking will be affected in 2 ways. 1. Satisficing method, where you choose what satisfies you only, regardless of what satisfies others. Here, the reasonable price criterion and self-satisfaction take precedence over the high quality and beautiful appearance criteria. And 2. Optimizing method, where you choose what pleases you and pleases others as well. Here, the high quality and beautiful appearance criteria take precedence over the reasonable price and self-satisfaction criteria. When choosing the satisficing method, relying on what satisfies you and meets your needs only, choose the car that fits your first and second criteria and leave the car that fits your last and second to last criteria. When choosing the optimizing method, rank your criteria according to what pleases you and pleases others, but how will you know what pleases others? The most important step in the matter of optimizing and knowing people's opinions is to ask people, in other words, to consult them. Consultation is the most important pillar in decision-making, so it is said, consultation never fails. Consult and be specific. Ask the right consultant about cars if you want to buy a car, or about real estate if you want to buy a house. But what is the benefit of consultation? Consultation is a process of collecting and analyzing information. It involves new information and valuable analyses debated by experts regarding initial decisions. However, consulting experts will not be free. For example, you may have to pay $100 for a car expert to choose a car for you, or $1,000 for a house inspector to confirm the safety and quality of the house you intend to buy. At this stage, when hesitant to pay for consultation, citing the loss, remember the fallacy of loss aversion, which says that humans avoid loss and hesitate under the pretext of intensifying gains. What is expected of you is to hesitate to pay $100 or $1,000 under the pretext that if you added it to the price of the car and the house, it would be better. The question: why hesitate? Hesitation to pay for specialized consultants is due to one's perception of unrewarded loss. When, for example, a house inspector advises you not to buy a house for some reason, You will feel the loss of 1,000 from your pocket with no tangible return other than passing advice. Therefore, it is expected that you may commit several follies that lead you to make erroneous, crucial decisions. It is expected, for example, that after paying 1,000 to an inspector who advises against purchasing, you might end up buying the house contrary to the inspector's advice. The reason is the fallacy of sunk costs fallacy, which states that when a person is immersed in expenses that seem to have no return, like 1,000, they tend to pay larger expenses in compensation. The sunk costs fallacy confirms that humans do not genuinely like loss, but prefer committing to the major loss, $100,000, as long as it comes with a return, a house, rather than accepting a minor loss, $1,000 to an inspector, as long as it is without a real return. However, we know that a loss of 1,000 means a gain of 99,000, which is a significant profit. The second fallacy that may lead one to make wrong decisions during the consultation process is decision fatigue. It is a condition where a person feels extreme fatigue due to prolonged thinking and frequent consultation, leading them to decide impulsively to relieve themselves from this process, even if it results in a loss. The question: do you make hasty decisions when fatigued? One of the best solutions to mitigate the impact of decision fatigue is to make a specific decision and then postpone the initiative for implementation for a week. Abundance of time, as we said, is a third condition ensuring the accuracy of the decision. If you find yourself a week later with the same enthusiasm for the initiative, your decision seems correct. When you sense a genuine desire after a week but feel hesitation, remember that this hesitation is a third fallacy that leads to wrong decisions. It is decidophobia, as some fear making decisions, feeling that not making a decision is better than making one. The only solution is to proceed with your decision, feeling that every decision can be corrected by a supporting decision. In short, there is no wrong decision, as every decision can be corrected by a supporting decision. Yes, proceed with the mistake, as there are supporting decisions that will rectify your error. Although waiting for a week will clarify your genuine desire for something, there is a fourth fallacy that may lead you into the trap of wrong decisions, called FOMO, fear of missing out. It is a fallacy that makes you feel the urgency of making a decision so as not to miss out on an opportunity. Opportunities are known to be an attractive environment for deception and fraud. So, if you want to deceive someone, just say, "This is an opportunity." The fear of missing opportunities means feeling the importance of rushing to make a decision. This means that the third rule for making the right decision, abundance of time, has been broken. The reason for a person's rush to seize opportunities is the love of gain. The solution: wait whenever you feel you are making a quick decision under time pressure and the pretext of a rare opportunity. In addition to the fallacy of FOMO and love of gain that people suffer from, and which lead them into wrong decisions under the pretext of a rare opportunity, there is also a fifth fallacy called the illusion of control. It is a fallacy that deludes a person into thinking that they can control the matter if it goes out of control, thus seizing opportunities, expecting their ability to control its course. Then they are surprised to fall into an unrecoverable trap with a supporting decision only at a high cost. Every drug user has suffered from the illusion of control, thinking initially that they can control themselves after the first dose and falling into the trap of addiction. It is the fallacy of overconfidence, which leads to recklessness and taking action without considering the cost and consequences. In short, these are the ways to make decisions in personal matters, along with highlighting their fallacies that hinder their progress. Every successful decision is built on gathering information, 75% of which is sufficient, and analyzing the information, comparing positives and negatives, etc., and having an abundance of time, taking enough time, and being wary of fallacies. All of the above is summarized in the approaches proposed for decision-making, such as the GOFER approach. The word GOFER is an abbreviation for several steps you can follow to make decisions, namely 1. Define your goal. 2. Know your options. 3. Gather the facts. 4. Examine the effects. 5. Review your decision. These are the steps for decision-making according to the GOFER approach. The GOFER approach is a method proposed by Australian psychologist Leon Mann. We won't elaborate on it here or on others because they appear to be a series of general tips. Our goal in presenting them is for you to at least be aware of the famous approaches in the science of decision-making. Take, for example, a second approach called DECIDE, suggested by decision-making researcher Christina Go. The word DECIDE is an acronym for decision-making steps, which are as follows. 1. Define the problem. 2. Enumerate your criteria. 3. Consider alternatives. 4. Identify the best one. 5. Develop a plan. Then 6. Evaluate the matter. These are general tips aimed at making you conscious of them. After covering personal decisions, let's now move on to major life decisions that affect life in general. We will start with the following rule. Every decision built on a sound rule is sound. When you make a decision, ask yourself, is it based on a sound rule? If yes, it is a sound decision. If not, it may be a wrong decision. In this life, there are 5 sounds rules, or 5 sound pieces of advice that we should stick to. Do not seek immortality, as you are not immortal. Do not seek perfection, as you will remain imperfect. Do not seek agreement, as differences are inevitable. Do not seek independence, as you will remain influenced. Do not seek moderation, as you will remain extreme. If you believe that the previous 5 rules are sound and unquestionable, then make decisions based on them, and your decisions will also be undoubtedly sound. Yes, you are not immortal in this life. This is a rule. So make a decision based on it. Decide, for example, to make plans only for short periods, for 5 years for instance. Consider also the rule perfection is impossible, so you will not be perfect. Decide based on this rule for public speaking, for instance. Speak in front of the public without insisting on perfection. This is a sound decision because it is based on a sound rule that says you will not be perfect. Also, use the same rule for your career. Decide not to insist on delivering perfect work. Submit work that is 85% good, and thus you make a correct decision. As we mentioned before, any decision you make based on a sound rule will be sound. We've emphasized that achieving agreement is improbable. If you understand this correct rule, you will make correct decisions about it. For example, you will not be very strict in your opinion, and this is a sound decision because it stands on a sound rule. Why insist on convincing people when differences and disagreement are inevitable? The same goes for moderation. You will not be moderate, but you must lean towards an idea. Therefore, the best decision is to review your decisions, as they may be extreme and unbalanced. Also, you cannot be independent of others, so you will be influenced by them. Therefore, the good decision is to open up to people, learn from them, and not ignore them. We just discussed a while ago about 5 100% accurate rules. So ask yourself, what are your new decisions when you know that you are not immortal, not perfect, not agreed upon, not independent, and not moderate? We will now move on to the third section, which is the decisions we make in routine and ordinary matters. For example, do you struggle with the color of your clothes? Do you hesitate about your lunch for the day? Do you wonder, should I buy a white shirt or a black one? Should I have a sandwich or kebab for lunch? Some people dwell extensively on such trivial decisions. The best solution to this indecision is to choose what appeals to you without regret and hesitation. Making a habit of decisiveness in routine matters gives you confidence in yourself when making crucial decisions. But what if you want a structured decision even in trivial routine matters? Try using a lottery. Toss a coin in the air and choose lunch based on which side it lands on, whether it's a sandwich or kebab. Let chance dictate your life. But what if you don't have a coin or have 3 or 4 trivial choices and are undecided on the best one? Try the random number generator method. Search on Google for random number generator, specify the number of options, and mentally assign each option a number. For example, link number 1 to kebab, number 2 to sandwich, and number 3 to kabsa. Then press the number generator and the computer will choose a number for you. If it's number 3, then today's lunch is kabsa. Run your mundane life with random number generator. We have one more section remaining, which is specific to organizational decisions, for groups, including families and companies, etc. We start with the fastest and safest method for any group decision that requires group thinking, and that is voting. The voting method settles debates by presenting options to supporters and opponents, and the majority opinion prevails. However, 2 considerations should be taken into account during the voting process. 1. Limiting peer pressure, ensuring there is no influence among individuals. And 2. Limiting the exclusion of the minority. The majority should not overpower the minority in the name of majority rule. Instead, consider the desires of the minority and provide for their needs in the decision. Voting is a practical idea for both companies and families. When a family disagrees on the distribution of inheritance from properties, sell or reinvest, voting among family members settles the debate, provided there is no influence from one sibling over others and considering the interests of the minority. The best method for voting here is score voting. Instead of asking, "Are you in favor or against?" with a simple yes or no answer, assign scores for the degree of approval. For instance, ask, "We will sell the properties. Do you strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree?" This voting will precisely clarify the majority and minority opinions and highlight preferences strongly agreed upon and those somewhat agreed upon. Although voting is effective in group decisions, as mentioned before, it may suppress the rights of the minority and be influenced by individuals' opinions. This is where the Delphi method emerged as a solution, suggesting that voting in companies should be left to experts to vote without revealing their identities to avoid influencing each other. The opinions of experts are then presented to each other for modification and adjustment, and thus the decision is made by the experts in the company. Another method is decision engineering, suitable for companies where the computer is given the right to make decisions based on big data. As they say, data is the new oil. Here we conclude the decision-making course. The best note to end with is to always remember that, as Herbert Simon says, A successful decision is built on three factors. 1. Gathering information, with 75% of it being sufficient. 2. Analyzing information, comparing positives and negatives and identifying opportunities and threats. And 3. Having ample time, as haste leads to many mistakes and fallacies. Let us conclude here with a piece of advice related to taste. Be proud of your decisions when they are based on your tastes. Meaning, take pride in your preferences, even if they are criticized by others. Just express to the critics that they lack a taste sense. It is enough to say that you were surprised by their opinion about your taste, and you will see them reconsider their opinion about your preference. Remember, being steadfast in your taste is in itself a sound decision. This training course, Decision Making, is taken from the book Training Courses by Muteb Alqarni.